Hello you guys, it's Katie and welcome back to another video. In today's video I have a crochet tutorial for you guys for how to make this headband. So this is a super simple and easy pattern for you to make, and it works up super quickly, so I have already made a ton of these. And this can be made with weight 4, weight 3, or weight 5 yarn. So there is a written crochet pattern for this as well, which is also free, so I will leave it linked below for you guys if you are interested in that. And that also explains the alterations for the different yarn weights. For today I am using a weight 4 yarn, which this is Red Heart Super Saver Retro Stripes. And then I have a 5mm hook, a yarn needle, and a tape measure, and that is all you're going to need for this project. You do not need any sort of stitch markers or anything like that. Of course you can use them if you want to, but I personally don't use them for this pattern. So this pattern is made to measure, so if you don't know the size of the person's head that you are making this for, then you can refer to this sizing chart, which is just the average head circumference size per age group. So you can either screenshot this or you can refer back to this later in the written pattern as well if you would like to do that. But that is basically all you need to know for this pattern to get started. So let's go ahead and get started. So to start out, I'm going to be doing a slip knot, which I am going to give you a brief little explanation on how to do all of these stitches and techniques that I'm using in this video. But if you are a complete beginner, I will link some other tutorials below for you in case you want to check those out. But right now, starting with a slip knot, which is going to be taking your yarn over your two fingers like this and making an X shape. At least this is how I make my slip knots. There's multiple different ways to do it. And then I like to go ahead and grab my hook and flip over my yarn and grab this second loop and then pull it tight, and there you have a slip knot. So now you're going to have your tail end, which I'm just going to put off to the side kind of, because you want to make sure you don't accidentally work with the tail. You want to make sure you work with the working end, which is attached to my ball of yarn. So now you're going to be making chains. So you want to make sure that you make as many chains as you need for the head circumference of the person you are making it for. So first you're going to yarn over, which when I refer to yarning over, I just mean taking the yarn and wrapping it around the hook. And then you're going to pull through a loop. Just like that. And that has made one chain. And you're going to again yarn over and pull through the loop. Yarn over and pull through the loop. You want to do this not super tight, just to make sure that it won't be tight on the person's head as they are wearing the headband. So you just want to continue making chains until you've reached the length, which I'm making this as a kid size since I am donating this headband. So I will come back in a little bit to measure it, and then we will continue on once I'm happy with the measurement. Alright you guys, I have a pretty long chain, as you can see here. It goes off camera, so I'm going to measure it. Between 19 and 21 inches is what I'm going for, which you want to make sure you measure this while it is stretched out as well, which as you can see, a little bit over 19 inches is what it would be stretched out. So that is pretty good for a kid size, so we're going to leave it there. So now that I'm happy with the length, I'm going to start on the first row, which is going to start with chaining 2, and then you are going to start in the third chain from the hook. So skip these 2 you just made and start in this third chain with a half double crochet. So to do a half double crochet, you're going to yarn over first, and then you're going to insert your hook into this third chain, and then you're going to yarn over again and pull that through the chain stitch to where there is 3 on your hook, and then you're going to yarn over and pull through all 3. And that has completed 1 half double crochet. You want to do 1 half double crochet in each chain for this whole length of the chain. So I'll show you one more time here. A half double crochet is yarning over, inserting your hook into the next stitch, yarning over again, and pulling through that chain. Now you have 3 on your hook, So you're going to yarn over and pull through all 3. Now, again, you're going to do this all throughout the next stitches. If you need to see how to do the stitch again, go ahead and rewind in this video. But I'm going to do all of these half double crochet stitches all the way to the end of my chain, and then I will come back to you for how to do the next row. Alright you guys, so I have 1 chain left here that I'm going to work the last half double crochet into. So that is now the end of this first row. So I'm now going to chain 2, which again is just yarning over and pulling through a loop, yarning over one more time and pulling through a loop to make 2 chains, and then I am turning my work. So that is how you change from one row to another throughout this whole pattern, is chaining 2 and then turning. So for the second row, you're going to do double crochets instead of half double crochets, and every other row from now on is worked in the back loops only. So if you don't know what that refers to, if you see this V shape here, the back loop is just working into here instead of going under both like you normally would. So the back would just be working under just this one loop instead of under the front and the back like you normally would. Now, what I like to do when I'm working in the back loops of a project is the first and the last stitch of each row I actually work under both loops, just because it gives a straighter edge once you are finished. So for the first one, I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook under both loops, and then I'm going to yarn over again and pull through. So now there's 3 on your hook, then you're going to yarn over, but this time only pull through the first 2. Then there's 2 left on your hook, so you're going to yarn over and pull through those 2 as well. So that has made 1 double crochet, and then you have the chain 2 turning stitches here. And now for all of the rest of these stitches, you're going to work in the back loop, and you're still doing double crochets. So again, a double crochet is yarning over, inserting your hook, again, only in that back loop instead of both loops, and then yarning over, pulling through. With 3 left on your hook, you're yarning over, pulling through 2, yarning over, pulling through 2. And just one more time, I'll show you yarning over, inserting only into the back loop of the next stitch, then yarning over and pulling up the loop, yarning over again, pulling through 2, yarning over again and pulling through 2. And you're going to do that all the way until the end, and you have 1 stitch remaining, and then I will show you what to do from there. So I have done my stitches all the way up until the last stitch that is left here. So for this last one, instead of working in the back loops, I'm again going to be working under both, just because it makes a straighter edge. So I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook under both of those loops, then I'm going to yarn over again, pull that through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. So that has completed this row number 2, which was double crochets in the back loop. So now we're going to again chain 2 and turn. Alright, now for the next row, it is again going to be worked in the back loops. All of the rest of the rows are worked in the back loops, except for the first and last stitches. So for row number 3, you are going to yarn over, insert your hook. This time I'm doing under both loops just because it is the first stitch, and then I'm going to yarn over again and pull that through. Now there's 3 on your hook, so you're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 since we're doing a half double crochet. Next stitch, I'm going to be yarning over, inserting my hook just into that back loop, then yarning over again and pulling through. Now that there's 3 on your hook, you're going to yarn over and pull through all 3. So one more time, I'm yarning over, inserting my hook into the back loop, yarning over again, and now there's 3 on my hook, so I'm yarning over again and pulling through all 3. So I'm going to be repeating all of this until I'm at the last stitch. Alright you guys, so I have one last stitch left to do for row 3. So I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook, again this time into both loops instead of under just the back loop. And I'm going to yarn over again, pull that up, and now that there's 3 loops left, you're going to yarn over and pull through all 3. Now, for the rest of this pattern, you are going to be repeating row 2 and 3, 2 and 3, 2 and 3 until you've gotten to 9. So I will come back to you after that. And if you do need a little recap of how to do these rows again, just make sure you rewind in this video to see how to do them because they are exactly the same. And for this, it is pretty easy to count your rows, especially with a yarn like this that I'm using where the colors are changing. But also you can pretty easily see, because we're working in the back loops, that this is one row where the front loop is sticking out. This is a second row, and then if you flip it around, this is a third row because of the texture. So that is just to help you a little bit so that you will know once you're at row 9. But with that, I'm going to repeat rows 2 and 3 until I have reached 9 myself. Alright you guys, I now have 9 rows here, which before you finish off, it's probably best to count to make sure that you do have 9 rows. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So that is what we're looking for. So now I have one last stitch to do in this last row. So this is a half double crochet row. So I'm just going to complete that. So now I'm going to grab quite a bit of yarn just to make sure I have a good enough tail as I'm cutting it. And I'll just cut it with a lot to spare. There's no specific length or anything, you do just want a good sized tail. And now to finish off, I'm going to yarn over and pull this completely through. And then now that that is completely through, I'm just going to tighten right there. And that is how you finish off. So now we need to do the sewing, but before that I am going to go ahead and weave in this end. So you don't want to weave in the end that you just finished off with, that is the really long one. Instead, you're going to weave in the one that you started with. So to weave in your end, you are going to just take a yarn needle and the edge of the yarn, and I like to fold it like this so that it will go through the needle pretty easily. And then you just want to insert through some stitches, and you just want to weave this in and out through a couple stitches, and this is just so that it is secure for washing and wearing and all of that. So now that I've gone through a couple of stitches, I also like to go backwards in the same direction that I came, just to make sure that it's even more secure. And once you've done that, you can go ahead and grab your scissors and cut this off. So you do want to cut it close to your stitches, but you obviously don't want to cut your stitches. So I'm just kind of doing like that. And then what you can do is pull this a little bit and it kind of hides the end in there. So now we need to sew this, and that's how you get the twist. So you're going to again need the yarn needle, and you're going to need this really long end that we have left. So first, to start out with, I'm going to be placing the yarn needle on this end that I have left, again the really long end, and just placing that off to the side for now. And now to actually close the headband and make the twist, you're going to fold it, but instead of folding like this, you're going to fold kind of halfway to where half of it is overlapping, but then half is still off to the side. And then you're going to wrap around. So this is going to go around the back, and this is going to go around the front, kind of to where they're sandwiched together, and you have 4 pieces. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So now you're going to go ahead and grab this end. So it's already attached here, So I'm going to feed it through the second layer, the third layer, and the fourth layer to make sure that it is going through all of them. And then I'm going to tighten that. And now I'm going to go up the opposite direction and go through 1 layer, 2 layers, 3 layers, and 4 layers. And then again, pull this through and tighten it. You're going to do this all the way until you get to the other side, making sure that you are going through all 4 layers each time. Alright, now I've sewn through from here all the way over here, but I do like to go ahead and go back just one time as well, just to make sure it is super secure. So I'm going to do the same process, just going in the opposite direction now, because I started from here and went this way, so now I'm starting from here and going this way. So now that I've gone through all of the rows, what I'm going to do is go ahead and just weave in this end. So you can kind of weave it in however you want to. It's also pretty well weaved in just because of how you just sewed this, but I am just kind of sticking in the area where it is the same color to make sure it is hidden, and going back and forth until I feel like it is pretty secure. And then you're just going to do the same thing that you did with the last end, which is go ahead and cut it pretty close to your project, but again, being careful not to cut the stitches. And then you can kind of pull it apart. And now the final step to see the finished product is just flipping it right side out. So here is what it looks like. So you have the twisted effect in the center here from how we just sewed it, and then of course with the yarn I chose you also have the color changes. So it looks super pretty in my opinion, and this works up super quickly. Filming this tutorial, I was able to make this in under an hour, so if I can do it with filming this tutorial at the same time, then you guys can definitely do it in under an hour. So I hope you have enjoyed, and I hope you found it helpful to make your own headband. Thank you guys so much for watching this tutorial today. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you were able to make one of these headbands for yourself or maybe for a Christmas gift. Either way, I hope you enjoyed. If you guys did enjoy this video and you found it helpful, please do give it a big thumbs up. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought of this video. If you are making this headband or if you made it along with me, I would love to hear all of that. And if you do end up posting pictures of your headbands on social media, definitely tag me. I am at Katie Bean Creative everywhere, so I would love to see all of your creations with this tutorial and the written pattern. Now, if you guys want to make sure you don't miss out on any of my future videos, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and turn on the post notification bell. That way you know every single time I upload a brand new video. Liking and subscribing and commenting really does help out, so I really do appreciate that. And if you guys do want to see more from me in general, you can always check out more videos of mine, my blog, my Etsy shop, my Ribbler shop, all of my social medias, and my second channel. All of that is always included in the description box of every video for you guys. And for this video specifically, you can find the links to the written pattern and all of the materials I used here today. So with all of that, thank you guys so much for watching this tutorial, and I will see you guys here in the next video. Goodbye!